Hey, PO7G. Let me just start by getting some things out of the way. I am not some raging anime fan, which you may or may not notice. I'm not some guy whose life revolves around it. I don't absolutely love it. I don't think it's the best thing in the world. I am not going to bash you for anything you said. This is not my misguided attempt to try to reprimand you for the things you said. I'm not going to call the race card, try to say that you hate Japan, everyone in Japan, because you can't stand their cartoons or their style or anything like that. I'm just here to talk. So some things I want to say, I'm probably not going to be very linear with this. I'm probably just going to jump around all over the place, because this is just a jumbled mess of things in my head that I want to say. One of the things I want to say, I think you should probably change the titles of your videos at somewhere along the line, because I get it, the words anime sucks. It's so blatant and it's bound to get lots and lots of attention, but it's incredibly misleading, because when I actually watched your videos, you made it clear more than a few times that this is your opinion, that it doesn't need to reflect or apply to anyone else, that, you know, it's not like everyone needs to think this way. You know what? I commend you for saying that in your videos, that this is just your opinion. It's ultimately what you think, and yeah. At the same time, there's a few things that you say that do bother me quite a bit. Like, there's one instance in a video where you say you're not making fun of the artists who draw these sort of things, and then almost immediately after, just a few seconds later, you said the style sucks. Maybe I'm reading too deep into this, but whether you intended to say this or not, whether it's just a little slip up of the tongue or not, you are basically calling out anyone who bothers to draw this way. You're basically insulting the entirety of all these artists in Japan, all these mangaka who live there and wherever else who draw this stuff. If you conform to this style, then everything you draw is just bleh, it's horrible, because you're drawing in this style that I happen to not like. And like I said, oh, not me, I'm talking about you now. Maybe that's not what you intended, but that's just how it comes across. And I think that a greater example of that is simply the titles of your videos, because I think it would have been more appropriate if you simply called them I think anime sucks or I don't like anime, because just saying anime sucks, it completely clashes with the things you say. It sounds like you are trying to say that what you think does apply to everything and makes it so, makes whatever you say true. And well, dang, I've gone on such a tangent with that I'm trying to remember everything else I'm saying. Anyway, it's a little late to change it now. This is basically your gimmick. You're that guy, that anime sucks guy. That's how people on YouTube know you, and apparently you're going with that. You're writing on that, and I guess that's all fine and dandy. But I just think you could have avoided a lot of the flack you've gotten over the years, and well, who knows? Maybe you like all this attention you're getting, but I just think it would have been a good way to avoid it, by simply calling it something more practical, something more apt. Something I want to say about the style. I don't think it's necessarily that creative. I don't think it's the best thing in the world. I even incorporated it into with some of my own artwork, which more or less I'm kind of ashamed of. But see, I don't think it sucks because, let's look at it this way. Here's how I've always looked at anime. You've got things like Looney Tunes, which are totally outrageous looking, and then you've got things like Batman and Superman comics and so on, which, you know, are far-fetched in their own ways, but still have lots of detail, and the artists try to draw the characters fairly realistically. And then you've got anime, which I think is somewhere along the middle. It's not quite cartoony, it's not quite realistic, and that bothers some people because they just don't know what to make of it. They don't know what it's trying to be, but I actually like it because of that. And, you know, they're not all drawn that way. They don't all have the humongous eyes and the stretchy mouths, or like tiny when their mouths are closed, and so on. Not with the big boobs and the spiky rock star hair and all that crap. Some actually make a point of trying to make the characters look realistic, with small eyes and wrinkly faces and, you know, just shorter hair and other such things. There aren't a lot of those, though, so I get it when people try to say that it's all just one style. But here's why it doesn't bother me. To me, anime is a caricature. Like, you know, you're in a park and you see someone sitting on a bench with a big pad of paper, and they're just drawing all these people that walk by, and they'll take a certain feature, or many features, and just blow the hell out of them out of proportion. They'll give them a forehead that bulges out further than their nose, or they'll give them big feet, or big ears, or big facial hair, or other such things. And to me, anime is just another caricature. I know it's a really weird, iffy comparison, whether you like this stuff or hate it, but to me it is just another wild, quirky caricature in which the eyes and other such things are defined. And I really don't see why some people think it's so hard to connect with, because I can see it was intended to be expressive. You know, large eyes and mouths and other such things. It's supposed to make it easy to tell what the characters are thinking. That's why their expressions change so vividly. And they're the same thing with small eyes. If you want to make someone look really threatening in anime style, you just make their pupils really tiny, so it looks like they're having an adrenaline rush or something. You know, it's supposed to make them look more soulful, to have big, murky doe eyes. And I think that of all the reasons someone could hate anime, hating it just because the eyes bother them is one of the stupidest reasons I can think of. Because to me, it just makes me think of a little toddler who's being taken to the circus, or the fair, or the carnival, whatever, and this is their first time being there. They go there with their family, and they see a clown. They've never seen a clown before, and the first time they encounter this bizarre creature that's so unlike anything they've ever seen. They see the weird hair, and the painted lips, and the big nose, and the you know, just all these unshapely things. And it scares the crap out of them, and they might start crying because they just don't know what to make of this creature. It's just so horribly bizarre. It's like, people aren't supposed to look like this, so they just can't comprehend it, and that's why a lot of people are scared of clowns. And to me, this is basically the same thing. You know, people who don't like the big eyes or anything like that, it just seems to me like it's too much for them to handle. I don't know what people are going to make of that, but here's a reason here's something I don't like about anime. And I don't love anime, I just kind of like it. But it's possible to criticize things that you actually like. I think the animation is iffy, because most of the time there isn't a lot of movement. They'll just stand around for like 5 to 10 minutes with their mouths just endlessly flapping the same way, not nearly as expressive as people talking in real life. And then you might have 15 or so seconds where a giant robot is transforming, or a person is attacking and there's explosions and lights everywhere, and suddenly it's all really fluid for a short while, and then for the rest of the episode it all feels stiff again. And sure, you've got all these Hayao Miyazaki movies, these Ghibli movies, in which things are almost constantly moving all the time, which I wish all anime could be like, because a lot of anime is just downright boring, because it's so hard to just sit and stare at these pictures, which are like the pages of a manga that have just been colored and now have voices reading the dialogue out loud for you. So yeah, there's something I'd criticize about anime. There's something I think that makes anime sucks, and I think that's a legitimate reason to criticize it, not just because the style doesn't fit your taste, or because it makes you uncomfortable. Oh, another thing, the guy's lifting up humongous weapons, or with bizarre body proportions, all those such things. If a guy's carrying a 15-foot-long sword that goes all like this, it's supposed to emphasize just how terrifyingly strong they are, you know? Like, they're inhumanly strong. No one should be this strong. And it's supposed to make these people scary, because they have to be something else to be able to carry such things. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But, whatever. I think it's kind of silly, too, though I incorporate a little of that into my comics and whatnot, too. But anyway, yeah. One last thing, I'm not even sure I'm really talking about you at this point. I'm just rambling on, babbling incessantly, but something else I wanted to say. It kind of bothers me when you got people who love things from over here, love Western cartoons, but absolutely cannot stand anime of any kind, because they just don't get it. And I also hate weeaboos, who absolutely love everything Japanese, and can't stand great shows like Tom and Jerry. I love Tom and Jerry. My favorite scene is probably when Jerry runs into a little knothole, and Tom takes this big cigar, and he's like, trying to drown Jerry out, and he winds up making himself sick instead. I love things like that. I love good old Western shows like that. But you see, I like a little bit of everything. When I go to a store like Borders, I got this big stack of comics, lots of superhero comics, Batman, Superman, Spider-Man, so on. Got Star Wars, got Transformers, got little comic strips like Peanuts and Calvin and Hobbes and Boondocks and Foxtrot, or whatever the hell I feel like looking like. And amidst all this stuff, I'll often have a couple of manga here and there, something like One Piece or Battle Angel Alita. I'm not recommending these two or anything, I'm just saying I like to have a little of everything, and I can understand if people like one thing more than another thing. I can understand if people like anime more than they like things over here, or they like things from over here more than in Japan. Oh, I keep saying over here, I mean Western America. But if they only like that one side and they don't tolerate the other side, it just seems terribly narrow-minded to me. I'm not trying to say you're missing out on something or you should totally let yourself... I mean, you should totally watch all this stuff. I mean, I commend you for saying that you're not trying to insult people who enjoy such things, but... I basically run out of things to talk about. This is probably one of the longest videos I've made where I'm just talking in one frame. Was there anything else I want to talk about, or have I covered basically everything? I guess that's it. Well, anyway, like I said, I'm not here to ridicule you for anything you said. I'm not trying to pay you back. I hope I don't get a lot of bashing from weeaboos. I hope I don't get a lot of bashing from people who just can't tolerate anime, period. I get the cookie cutter eyes and such things are kind of freaky, but I understand it because I look at it in a completely different way than some people like you probably look at it. And yeah, I guess that's it. Wow, I'm running out of time on this. Well, later.